Yeah, it really is that simple. Just gotta aim in first person from a little bit further back than I did when I tried it last time, and you can get it fairly easily. Anyway, hello everyone, welcome back to Wallace and Gromit. I am doing post-commentary for this video and getting run over by a minecart. Here I am about to fail at falling in the water, although it certainly looked like I landed in the water, but I guess not. Anyway, the answer to my, confoundment, if that's a word, of about this level and what to do next, was explained to me by Custard, and it's very simple. I just need another tool so I can use this thing. Well, I mean, I can do this one, but then you need another one. You need 7 to get that other thing over there to make it do the thing that it does, and to get the beaver. And I know where the tool is. I missed it. It's like kind of in plain sight, but just enough not so that I was not really aware of it. And it's right there. So, yeah, that's what the deal is with this. I really was just like failing to pay attention and like put things together in my head and like be observant of things with the live commentary. That's one of the other problems with the live commentary. Not only does it make my commentary suck, but it kind of makes me suck at the game as well after a while. Which is weird, because I don't necessarily find that to be the case with streaming all the time, although sometimes it definitely can, especially if it's like getting late and I'm tired and or like drunk. Yeah, I can certainly notice myself getting shittier at the game, and especially if I'm like getting far in a game and it's getting harder and I'm getting worse at it as you go. You know, you do the math on how that ends up working out. Anyway, yeah, there's a fucking machine gun in this game, which is pretty epic. Pretty cool, if you ask me. I hope people note that I'm using epic, ironically. Not that it really fucking matters, because it's just a funny word to me now. It reminds me of the good old days of the internet back in, like, 2009, which I alternate back and forth between thinking that sense of humor was extremely annoying and shitty, and, like, that it was quaint and funny. Either way, I certainly engaged in it, and I certainly engage in a good number of, internet lingo and phraseology now. So, pop phraseology of the net. So, who am I to make fun of anybody, really? Also, another thing that Custard helped me out with, I guess is actually a friend of his, but he told me about it. The answer to my Halo 2 quandary that I talked about in, I think, the last video, where I was talking about a friend telling me that Halo 2 has a part where a dinosaur gets its jaw ripped off and it bleeds everywhere, to scare me as a little baby. And I told this to Halo playing people, and they said that does not happen in Halo, and the reason that does not happen is because the thing that my friend was talking about is not a dinosaur. It's the Arbiter from Halo 2. Now, I don't play the Halo games. I actually just started playing the single-player campaign for the first game, the anniversary version of the first game. I don't know why this acts the way it does. There's a lot of very strange, like, jumping things in this game. I'm still getting used to it, and I'm reserving judgment on whether or not I think it's, like, bad or broken, or if I'm just, like, not used to it, and or I'm shitty at the game, because it's definitely, a combination of those things. But after a while, I don't know, I might just find this to be because I just jumped forward. I didn't do anything fancy, and just sometimes it doesn't work. I mean, I guess it's just timing and momentum and, other things that involve being good at the game that I don't do. But it can't be that. It surely is just a flaw with the game, and that's pretty funny that you can grab onto the lights like that. Anyway, but yeah, the Arbiter, I looked up so I don't like know shit about Halo, so I had to look up a picture of the Arbiter, and it does not look like a dinosaur at all. My friend was a fucking idiot. And I got gassed just there. That sucked. Wallace. I love when Wallace walks and he's like, he has this like arm pumping movement he does when he's walking, and he just looks like he's ready to shimmy down the dance floor with you. It's awesome. But yeah, here we are. I'm actually like, I'm in the process of making progress very slowly. I kind of have to take my time with this game because I'm still, like I said, getting used to things in it and how it works, and you know, it can be a little bit unwieldy in parts, you know, so you have to be kind of vigilant, diligent, one of those. Digilant. So, the two big gamer girl news of the day right now, as far as I can tell, is the Video Game Awards happened. I was on also speaking of Custard, I was on a stream with him very briefly. He was streaming the Game Awards, and I came on for the last, like, half hour of them. Just for, you know, the big boys, the last, like, 2 of the 10 awards that they give out in the whole 3-hour thing. I had never watched the Video Game Awards before, and I, also, is it the Video Game Awards or just the Game Awards? Because I think it should be the VGAs. I believe that's what they're called, right? Whatever. Fucking Game Awards. Who cares? I'm gonna call them the Gamer Awards, because that's funnier. Anyway, I had never watched a Gamer Awards before. And I didn't know that it was essentially just like a trade show. Like, it's just a series of ads for games, and every once in a while they just give out an award. Which I guess that's all you could really do. But I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing something like the Oscars do for movies, where they have little prepared pieces about like some major development in gaming, you know, technology or whatever, or like a behind the scenes thing of some stuff. I don't fucking know. You could do some cool stuff, or like, I don't know. I don't know shit about gaming, so don't like compare to other people. And you know, I don't know much about like the makeup or politics of the Game Awards. I know that it's like 90% like a board of people and that choose the nominees and winners, and then the other 10% is like the online things. That seems a little silly. I feel like you should just do one or the other, or like maybe 50-50. But I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I for some reason just could not do a fucking crouch jump onto this thing. So this is just a little skeebity bop of me trying to do that, and then finally doing it just with one of the side jumps, which I really need to just start doing a lot, because it does go very high and it can be a little bit hard. It's a little bit like alarming when you just go up like 45 feet in the air, but it's helpful, and it's an easy move to pull off. So, and it's more forwardly mobile than the crouch jump. At least I have found in my 2 minutes of playing this game. But anyway, yeah, and then Last of Us Part 2 won a bunch, like everything, and that wasn't surprising to me at all. Because it's, you know, it's the big game. It's the one. They seem to really, and I mean the Game Awards, and also just like what publications and things that like do best of the year things for games in general. They like movies. They like games that try to be movies. Like they might like very cinematic games, open world stuff usually, like just the big, huge blockbuster like action titles. And Last of Us was the biggest one of those. And I also found out, I was telling Custer during the stream, before the awards, I was looking at a list of the nominees and just kind of going through in my head, as I do with other award shows that I actually watch, like the Oscars. Just kind of say, in my head which ones I think will probably win, and, not really knowing much about a lot of the games themselves. And then when I looked at the winner list and tuned into the actual show, I realized that I got, more than half of them right. Just on a cursory look at the list. And I was like, oh hey, maybe the Game Awards are just as fucking predictable, and the game industry is just as predictable as every other fucking media industry. Even the Grammys, I don't know shit about music or the music industry. I don't follow a lot of people. I don't usually know a whole lot of the people who are nominated, even in some of the main categories. Or if I do know of them, I only avidly listen to a handful of them, and am only really aware of the other ones and haven't even heard anything from them. So, but I still can usually tell, at least for the main categories, what they're probably going to go with. I don't know what I would say for this year, though. I don't honestly have that insight right now. So yeah, maybe I should start, betting on or guessing the Game Award. I'm doing, Game Award, winner prediction videos like I do for the Oscars every year. That would be pretty cool if people would watch them. And that reminds me, the other big, gamer news thing is that Cyberpunk 2077 came out, which was a game that I was actually pretty excited for a little while, and then the longer I waited for it and thought about it, I was like, I don't really actually know if I'm, super psyched to play this game. There may be other games like it that I might, do better. It might do me better to just play those or whatever. And there are things about it that seem cool, but I pretty much never buy, new AAA games now, and especially not right at release, partially because of lack of interest. I'm just not all that interested in a lot of, big blockbuster, franchise action games. Even though Cyberpunk is, a new IP and blah blah blah, but, But the other reason is that games are generally very broken right at launch, and so I end up wanting to wait anyway.
There. Any ideas, old chap? Whoa! Looks like some kind of landing area. Crikey, that's some drainage, that is. Holy helicopters! Penguins aren't supposed to fly. Oh, we'll never catch him now, unless...
So, yeah, I'm probably not going to get it, maybe ever, but at the very least not right now. And in general, and I mean, I take all of this with kind of a grain of salt, because, as I've stressed at a couple of times at this point, while I do, pay attention and I do think I know some things, I'm not, the most, educated person on the industry. I'm not the most in touch, with everything that's going on in the game industry necessarily. And I don't, as I just said, I don't play a lot of new popular games. But in general, I think that major games, popular games, AAA games, whatever you want to call them, blockbuster games as I would call them, even though that doesn't really work necessarily, but I think they've just gotten worse since the 2000s and everything. And I mean, I would always also, as many of you are probably aware, I would probably say the same for a a lot of pop culture in general, so it kind of makes sense that video games would be included in that. Load times are really long. I guess that's a cool thing that new games don't really have is longer load times. Except some of them do still. But just, I don't know. I don't know, actually. I haven't had like a new console in a really long time. The Switch games that I've played so far have not had very long load times, but that's not that many games, so I don't know.
Hey, lad, we're almost on him. Break! Turn! Oh, I can't watch. I nearly panicked there. Look, lad.
Okay, so now we have this fun helicopter lava hole level, and I'm not a huge fan of how this thing controls, because left and right are left and right, but up is down and down is up, so it kind of throws me off. Like, I can work with inverted controls, but I don't prefer them. I like to just, whatever direction I'm moving the movement thing in, I would like it to go in that direction. But it's not super hard once you get the hang of it, which I haven't, but I assume that that's true. But anyway, if not worse, I just think that, like, I think AAA games have gotten, and like just the kinds of stuff that gets made and gets a lot of money put behind it in games, I think they've gotten like more generic and more focused on like graphics and like granular details, especially in open world games, and specifically Rockstar games like Red Dead 2. You know, like having all of these amazing little extra things that you can do as a cowboy, but the actual gameplay is fairly linear, and the actual ways that you engage with the story and engage with the missions is actually fairly, you know, laid out for you, and there's not a whole lot of individuality to your experience in that regard. Compared to something like, you know, GTA 3 or even San Andreas, in terms of how you approach the actual like missions that the game wants you to play. And also on cinematics, like, you know, there's a lot of money spent and a lot of time spent on making like the character animation look as realistic as possible, which I think honestly more often than not just leads to Uncanny Valley type shit. And you know, making a story that offers a lot of very big cinematic moments and everything like that. And also all of this with terrible like crunch stuff. Obviously Last of Us had that, and just bad labor practices in general. And in Nintendo's case in particular, they've also gotten like significantly more litigious and shitty in other ways in recent years especially. You know, I sometimes wonder what's driving this, and right now there's a lot of like discussion online about what's driving it and people trying to figure that out. And I don't know enough. I want to find if anyone has any like good books or videos or anything, or people I should follow. That would be good to sort of get a more material, you know, real analysis of the game industry and how it works and how it operates and why. I would love to hear your recommendation for something like that. Something like the book that I've referenced a few times in some videos, Hollywood in the New Millennium, which talks about like changes in production and distribution practices at the major movie studios, you know, from the 90s, 80s and 90s up until the 2000s with the advent of streaming and stuff. Also, that pause there was because I was eating something, and I didn't know that the cutscene would be over that quickly and would immediately be going to a time thing. But luckily, this part is not very hard. So I don't know enough to really say, but I would imagine it's the same banal thing as with movies and every other industry, and I bet you can guess what that is. I mean, it's basically what I talk about in the Hollywood Crash Revisited episode, so whatever. But I'd like to think more about that, learn more about that, talk more about that, and because it is something that interests me.
Your life on the edge agrees with me.